President of India, Sri Pranab Mukherjee, for his address.
Dr. Manmohan Singh, Prime Minister of India and General President, Indian Science Congress. Mr. M.K. Narayan, Governor of West Bengal. Kumari Mamata Banerjee, Chief Minister of West Bengal. S. Jaipal Reddy, Union Minister for Science and Technology and Earth Science. Professor Srimati Geeta Bali, immediate past General President, Indian Science Congress. Professor R.C. Sobit, President-elect 2013-14, Indian Science Congress. Professor Suranjan Das, Vice Chancellor, Calcutta University. Dr. Manoj Kumar Chakraborty, Dr. Srimati Vijay Lakshmi Saxena. Distinguished scientists, foreign guests, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I wish the participants to the centenary session of Indian Science Congress and the people of the nation a purposeful and productive new year. My warmest congratulations to the Indian Science Congress on the occasion of the celebration of their centenary. Prime Minister of India generally inaugurates the annual sessions of Indian Science Congress. In the current year, the association has elected Dr. Manmohan Singh, Prime Minister of the country, as the General President. And therefore, an unusual event has occurred. The responsibility of formally inaugurating the Science Congress has fallen on me on his request and the request of the organization. I congratulate Dr. Manmohan Singh for being elected as the General President of the Indian Science Congress in this historic year. It is a befitting honor. From my personal experiences over the years, I know his abiding faith on education, science and technology. The good performance of science and technology sector in the recent years are largely the contribution of Dr. Manmohan Singh as the Prime Minister of this country. Ladies and gentlemen, I am an alumnus of Calcutta University. Naturally, I am delighted to participate in a function which is co-organized by Calcutta University. And as an alumnus, I fondly remember of the defining role that Sir Ashutosh Mukherjee played in nurturing the Indian Science Congress in the early years. Kolkata has remained historically a city of culture, knowledge. All Nobel Prizes awarded for work from India are somehow linked to the city of Kolkata. Sir Ronald Ross, he carried his pioneering research on malaria in this city, for which he was awarded the Nobel Prize in 1902. Sir C.V. Raman's remarkable discovery, the Raman effect, for which he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1930, was made here in Calcutta. The legendary poet and first Asian Nobel laureate of Rabindranath Tagore was a proud product of the city of Kolkata. Mother Teresa, who received the Nobel Prize for Peace, also had her activities in and around the city of Kolkata. The earliest organizations associated with the Science Congress, the Asiatic Society, the Indian Association for Cultivation of Science, and the Indian Science Congress Associations were established here. These organizations gave rise to celebrated luminaries in science who promoted a scientific culture. Sir Jagdish Chandra Bose, Professor Satyendranath Bose, Acharya Prafulla Chandra Rai, Dr. Meghnad Shah, and many others who built the edifice of modern science in the country. Sir J.C. Bose is hailed as the first of modern scientists of this country. His original contributions to the invention of radio are well known. The recent discovery of the Higgs boson particle highlights the epoch-making contributions of Professor Satyendranath Bose to particle physics. I do hope that the modern scientists of this city would emulate the examples of these great leaders of science in the past. Indian Science Congress presented me a compliance of all the addresses of the general presidents of the association as well as the inaugural addresses delivered over the years. These make fascinating reading. In a sense, these capture the history of the Indian science as it evolved over the past 100 years. In the year 1957, when I was a student of this great University of Calcutta, in that year the Science Congress was held here and Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was the chief guest and the visionary Chief Minister of West Bengal, Dr. B.C. Rai, was the President of the Science Congress. The topic of Dr. B.C. Rai's address to the Congress was on science for human welfare and development of country. The topic then was akin to the theme of the present session, science for shaping the future of India. We, the youngsters, were greatly moved by the observations of Dr. B.C. Rai, particularly his concluding message, which I would like to quote. I quote, "The clouds of time may have hidden for us innumerable problems, trails and dangers, yet time may also reveal solutions of unknown difficulties or delightful surprises which man with his knowledge of science should be prepared to turn to his advantage with faith, hope and goodwill." Unquote. Ladies and gentlemen, let me congratulate the Indian Science Congress for selecting Science for Shaping Future of India as the focal theme for its 100th session. Science has to be closely linked to the culture within the society which is built on scientific knowledge. It calls for a scientific temper that Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru very frequently used to talk about. Scientific culture demands that choices and decisions are made by individual, society and the nation on the basis of scientific logic. Indian economy has been following a new paradigm of development, foster sustainable and inclusive growth with equity. It is a new concept because it combines the faster growth with objectives of inclusiveness and sustainability. How to harness the forces of science, technology and innovation to achieve this end calls for deep deliberation. I am sure all the distinguished delegates present here will discuss this in all its aspects and implications with the seriousness that it demands. Ladies and gentlemen, science is one of the creative endeavors of human mind. Pursuit of science as a personal passion cannot be regulated or directed with the thrill of pursuit as in knowledge of the truth of nature. Prepared and creative minds are required to observe the revelation of nature. Science seeks universal and fundamental truth. Culture of excellence is the second nature of creative scientists. Eminent scientists of the world have always been concerned as to how their understanding of natural phenomena could be applied to solve the social problems of the future. Sir Jagdish Chandra Bose, more than a century ago, on 5th March 1885, wrote in his personal diary, and I quote, "I have been thinking whether the solar energy that is wasted in the tropical regions in a new way would be utilized. Of course, trees conserve the solar energy, but is there no other way of directly utilizing the radiant energy of the sun?" Unquote. What he thought more than 100 years ago is now one of the important objectives all over the world, and the world scientists are working on it. Of course, the seed for artificial photosynthesis was sown even at that time. Even now, it is an active area of the research pursuit globally. His disciple, Professor Satyendranath Bose, was a powerful communicator and an inspired teacher. He delivered lectures on power and nuclear energy in a language that even a layperson could understand that. He motivated generations of people to move towards scientific endeavor. Public and political understanding of science is crucial. For that, I would like to urge upon all of you to apply the modern tools for communicating science in a manner that can be understood by the common man. This understanding would contribute to the creation of a scientific culture, create the scientific temper in the Indian society. Ladies and gentlemen, the prime concern of any government in a country is enhancing the well-being of its people. Technology has the power of changing the lives of the people by creating physical well-being. Countries have undergone transformational changes all in one generation, from a relatively weak to an emerging economy. In these transformational changes, technology-led economic growth has played a very vital role. While technology can be considered a logical extension of knowledge gained from science, it is much more than that of mere application of science. Technology is contextual. There is an economic value to technology. We all are a witness to these transformational changes being brought about by mobile telephony and internet. The number of mobile phone users in India was around 19 crores in 2012, October 2012. By this time, it has increased much more, which is the second highest in the world after China. The mobile phone density of 74.21% of India compares favorably with the other top-ranking countries. Another marvel of technology, the Internet has become a vital source of information and communication. India ranks third after China and USA in terms of number of Internet users. However, the penetration of Internet use as the percentage of the population is meager 11.4%, indicating the huge potential for future growth. Another transformational application of technology is the Aadhaar project, which focuses on electronic transfer of benefits directly to the beneficiaries of various social sector schemes. I understand the rollout of Aadhaar-enabled service delivery has already started in 20 districts. In the budget of 2012-13, a target for covering 50 districts has been set, which I am sure will be met. Ladies and gentlemen, it is essential to innovate if we have to compete in a globalized economy. India has declared 2010-20 as the decade of innovation. The announcement of Science, Technology and Innovation Policy today lays the roadmap for the development of an economic system, for innovations, and for encouraging, recognizing, and rewarding the innovators in the society, especially the grassroots innovators who, through their genius, are adding value to the process which directly impact the local people. The new STI policy has also addressed the issue of right-sizing our research and development system. Balanced economic growth, especially in emerging economies like India, is of paramount importance. Productive engagement of our youth in agriculture, manufacturing, and value-based services hold the key for a balanced growth of the country. The new STI policy, I am confident, will pave the technology-led path of change, ensuring prosperity with peace and inclusiveness. Ladies and gentlemen, we need an educational system which lays importance on development of a scientific culture within the society. Mere economic growth without the attendant knowledge capacity to manage the dimensions of change would neither suffice nor be appropriate. Our ancient universities, whether those of Nalanda or Taxila, focused on value-based holistic education system. Perhaps it is appropriate to quote from an address of Rabindranath Tagore delivered 90 years ago. I quote, "You know the traditions of our country are never to accept any material fee from the students in return of teaching, because we consider in India that one who has knowledge has the responsibility to impart it to the students." Swami Vivekananda always spoke of fusion of culture and fusion of cultural values of the Orient with the practical methods of the Occident. Innovation is a modern means of converging knowledge into social value and wealth. Indian philosophy seeks to balance the pursuit of wealth and material success with the mastery of the self and the quest of the inner happiness. The deeply introspective yet practical wisdom of the Indian philosophy must find a resonance in the metaphor of competition and conquest popularized in the modern world. I conclude with an observation from Swami Vivekananda. He said, I quote, "No nation can be said to have become civilized only because it has succeeded in increasing the comforts of material life by bringing into use lots of machinery and things of that sort. In this age, as on the one hand, people have to be intensively practical, so on the other, they have to acquire deep spiritual knowledge." Unquote. I would like to call upon the scientific community to work for the promotion of a scientific culture for shaping our future in which prosperity and peace, excellence and equity and Oriental values and Occidental methods of science converge and coexist. India is expected to emerge as a major economic power by 2035. We should also emerge as a major knowledge power with high human and societal values. Let me mention in this regard that it has been long 83 years since C.V. Raman won the Nobel Prize for Physics. Another Nobel Prize in the science is long overdue for India. I call upon the scientific community, scientists and delegates gathered here today to rise up to this challenge and work towards this goal in a time-bound manner. With these words, I once again thank you, wish you best of the new year, and formally inaugurate the 100th session of Indian Science Congress. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Jai Hind.